Hello, welcome everybody. On behalf of the Southern California section of the American Chemical Society, I welcome you all and thank you for registering to listen to what I presume is going to be a scintillating seminar. I also have great pleasure in welcoming Urvashi Saxena, and she currently is a software engineer at the Collins Aerospace Corporation in Sterling, Virginia. She has a Bachelor of Science from the Florida Institute of Technology, Melbourne, Florida, a master's from George Mason University, Fairfax, Virginia. She is a member of the Society of Women Engineers, Women in Technology, and the Association for Computer Machinery. And today also happens to be Earth Day. So on behalf of Mother Earth, greetings to you all. And thanks to heavens, perhaps, the space guys, that we are all in a safe environment so far. And as a layman, I don't know too much about space technology and space research and all that. But what I know, it serves actually to keep our water and food resources, the energy security, early warning system of storms and other things, ecosystem services, and public health and environmental quality. These are some just I jotted down from one of the reviews of space science as related to the Earth. So welcome everybody. And I also wanted to mention that this seminar is made possible through a grant the National ACS gave to us. It is called the Local Section Activities Committee, LSAC MET grant, that is Members Engaging Through Technology, METT grant. And without much delay, I would hand over the mic to Urvashi to actually begin her seminar. Urvashi.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Krishna. We really appreciate it. And hello, everyone. Greetings to you all. I want to thank you all for coming to the seminar and joining me on my STEM journey. So I want to get started with an activity and ask you all to close your eyes and imagine the following. It's going to take a few seconds, so just close your eyes and imagine a software engineer, a program manager, and an architect. Okay. So I believe all of you imagined someone like this person as an engineer who wears a hoodie and writes code in the dark, or a manager who is wearing a tie and a suit and is working round the clock, answering calls. And you probably imagined an architect who's wearing a traditional helmet and is viewing the blueprint. I'm certain that not a lot of you thought of someone like me as an engineer, a manager, or an architect. And you're right, not a lot of people who look like me are those things. Women are still the underrepresented minority in the workforce, and my goal is to change the statistics and bring more diversity to our workplace, and it would result in building more products and services that are accessible to everyone. As it's evident from my pictures, my favorite activities are eating a lot of food, exploring restaurants, reading books, spending time with my family, and traveling. And a little bit about me, I come in from a family of STEM enthusiasts. My dad has worked in the software industry, and my mom, who started in as a professor of sciences and is now switched over to the software industry as well. All of my family is either into software, finance, or education. And my younger sister and my brother and I were brought up thinking that we can do anything if we put our minds and efforts into it. This really helped me make a lot of decisions, as I knew if I worked hard enough, I would be able to achieve anything. And while that is mostly true, there were a lot of times when that policy did not hold true. So I did a lot of my schooling in Pune, India, which is also known as the tech hub of India. So I was always surrounded by individuals who are very enthusiastic about the newest technology and startups. I had the opportunity to write code for the first time in middle school, where kids my age were getting introduced to this powerful tool of developing software for any of our needs. This was a very formative experience for me, as I decided in middle school that I wanted to pursue a career in computer science and help build applications or products that can be used by the masses. I was very fortunate to find my passion at an early age and work towards it. My interest in computers and all things tech was definitely not a surprise for my parents, as they always knew. So when I selected computer science for my undergrad degree, it was just a natural choice. I started my undergrad at Florida Institute of Technology in 2013 for computer science, and I was shocked to see the females to male ratio in my course. It was surprising to see how a country like United States, which has all the resources and infrastructure for the best computer science education, has so few females enrolled in the program. After completing my undergrad degree, I got a job at Collins Aerospace, which was then known as Rockwell Collins, where I started working as a software engineer and build the simulator applications for the E-2D aircraft. And once again, I was shocked to see the females to males ratio in my company. After working for 2 years as a software developer, I wanted to advance my career, which is when I decided to pursue my graduate degree in data analytics from George Mason University. And I decided that I didn't want to go to school full time, so I enrolled in part-time online school. And I was once again shocked to see the female to male ratio in my course. As I was pursuing my master's, I got the opportunity to pivot my career into software product management, as I got the chance to serve as a Scrum Master and currently as a product owner. And as you can probably guess, I was once again shocked to see the females to males ratio at the company. You'd think that as a minority, the shock of being able to count women in the room on one hand would probably wear off, but it doesn't. It just feels like a fresh blow every time. So why is it that our ratio of females to males is so consistently bad in all the fields? And I think the reason for this statistic is because of 6 core reasons why women are still the underrepresented minority in the workforce. So the first one, awareness. I feel like there's a lack of awareness among the students and their parents and their families about the challenges and benefits of the tech industry, which makes them hesitant to be a part of it. Second, empowerment. I believe it's important that all the people in the industry make a conscious effort and take active measures to empower those who are underrepresented and enable them to help grow. Third is the infrastructure. I think as a community, we can help build an infrastructure that is welcoming and comfortable for everyone. Having an infrastructure that is favorable to certain people will enable others not to feel like a part of this big community. The fourth is the metrics. Oftentimes, men and women have different metrics to get raises or promotions, and I think this really demotivates the females in the industry and pushes them from building a successful career. The fifth one is a big one, is the role models. Growing up, I had very few female role models. Everyone who I aspired to become was a male role model. And having fewer women in the industry means having fewer role models to look for who are like us. This also leads to less confidence in the work that one does and doesn't push for having them more women in the workplace. The sixth thing is the society. I think there are things that we can work on as a society to give equal opportunities to everyone. Not having an inclusive environment leads to women dropping out of STEM courses and careers. Over the years, as an undergraduate student and as a software engineer, I have had the opportunity to find out ways how I can help out other women get more involved with STEM courses and STEM careers. One of the things that has worked well for me is having one-on-one conversations. I have had the privilege to work with several students, several middle school and high school female students and their parents and had one-on-one conversations with them to spread awareness about the benefits and challenges of the STEM fields. Involvement in hiring events and STEM education events also lets your students and the workforce get a platform where they can interact informally and get opportunities to grow. One of my colleagues gave me a great advice that I carry with me every time I can count the number of women in one room on one hand. And that is, if you are the only female in the room, mentor another female and ensure that they are part of that room. I have taken and given this advice to everyone I meet, as I believe it's a conscious effort that needs to be made by everyone in the industry to increase the female participation. So what really drew me to software engineering was the correlation of putting in effort and getting immediate results. I loved that I could write a few lines of code, compile them, and test them, and I would have the result in seconds or even minutes. Since I can remember, I was mesmerized by this fancy equipment of like a family desktop that we had, and the process of starting it up with just a push of a button and using the small mouse to navigate the menus and the web pages really astonished me at the age of 8. And I was just mesmerized by this equipment. When I first started studying the practices of software engineering, I was blown away how everything can work seamlessly with just a few code lines. Cut to now, where my life is heavily dependent on the products and applications like my iPhone, my MacBook, my microwave, and my car. Applications like Apple Wallet, Google Maps has me permanently hooked on them. And from the first cup of tea of the day to the book that I read at bedtime, all of my daily actions, just like all of you, are heavily dependent on the software that is written by developers just like me. It's the power of writing code that got me mesmerized and made me build a career in it. As someone who graduated with a computer science degree with no aviation knowledge, my first job as a developer for an aviation and aerospace company like Collins Aerospace was really challenging. I didn't really know how I can use my skill set as a software engineer to build an aircraft or simulators. And it was my colleagues who really helped me grow and really learn different aspects of aviation and aerospace. And after going through hours and weeks of training, it was clear to me that what my vision was. As a software developer, I was there to build the desktop applications that will be used by the Navy to train the Navy pilots. It was my duty and my mission to develop a software that let my country person fight safely and help us save our lives. Software and aviation go hand in hand, and it's not obvious, but if you really look at it, you will understand what I mean. From the kiosk at the airport to the fuel consumption algorithm, to the employee scheduling and the aircraft travel itineraries, they're heavily dependent on software that is well written so aircraft and airlines can ensure the safe travel of the passengers. Okay, this brings me to another very essential application of software, and that is earth science. Given that today is Earth Day, I think it's fitting that we talk about this, but there are many ways that we can give back to the earth. And one of them is by protecting it and keeping it healthy for future generations. And the way we want to protect it is by knowing what the elements of earth are so we can have better ways of saving the earth. Earth science helps us understand the composition of the earth and helps the scientists understand the ways they can keep the environment healthy. Creating models to understand soil composition or predicting the dates and impact of the earthquakes or creating simulations for the geodynamics are just few of the many areas of the research in this field. There are multiple ways we can utilize software engineering tools and techniques for studying the different matters of the earth and coming up with innovative ideas to keep it sustainable. As you may have caught on with the theme, software engineering is like a skill set that can be applied to any of the areas of interest. As a person who is exceptionally enthusiastic about the cooking and exploring different restaurants, I thought it was a good idea to prototype an application similar to DoorDash, but instead of just ordering food, I prototyped an application. This was in high school and college, when I prototyped an application that would let the user order food as well as play a game, which would make this more interactive and more fun for the user. And this isn't just limited to one application. You can take any of your interests and apply software engineering to it. I tell my brother, who is really enthusiastic about music, that once he learns how to code, he can digitally create music and share it with the world. And the same suggestion goes to my sister, who is very enthusiastic about creating art. She could create an NFT, deal in crypto, or she could pursue digital arts. The opportunities are endless, whether it is your interest in physics, math, or geography. Anything is possible. With software engineering, the world can be at your fingertips and you get to control it. So these are some of the many career paths that you can choose from. As I said before, the opportunities are endless, and the advancement of technology, the way we live, the career paths are just going to evolve over time. So it's essential that you continue to learn every day and you look at the needs of the consumers and try to find a career path that fits you the best. So I talked about picking a career path, but how would you actually select a good major? So how do you make a decision that is the biggest decision of your life and it's going to run your life for the majority of the time? In my opinion, I think you can decide on your major as an intersection of your existing skill set and your passions. If, let's say, your passion is flying and being a pilot is something that really interests you and you've wanted to do it for a long time, but let's say your eyesight is weak and you wear glasses that won't make you eligible for flying. Well, in that case, maybe pilot is not a good idea for you and it's not going to be the safest choice either. However, if your passion is aviation, then even with a bad eyesight, you can choose to be in the field by being an aircraft mechanic, an aircraft designer, or even an aviation data analyst. The opportunities are endless. Exploring your passions with your skills will enable you to pick up a major that will help you succeed in the field, and it will make you enjoy your work. When I was enrolled in my computer science undergrad program at FIT, there were many situations that I faced that led me to question my decision. My parents always encouraged us to pursue our passion and work towards it. But what happens when the hard work is not getting the results that you need to succeed? In my sophomore year, like other CS grads, I had to take data structures and algorithms course. And it was one of the toughest courses that I had to take. When I got the results from my midterm, I was really heartbroken because in the first time in my entire life, I had gotten a C grade. I feel like that was the end of the world in my sophomore year, but it wasn't. Up until that course, I had straight A's and I was a great student. So what exactly changed for me? Well, I was still a great student. I still worked hard towards my courses. I did my reading assignments. I did all of my coding assignments, and I still got a C. I was so disappointed that I went in and dropped out of the course immediately before the deadline because I was afraid to receive an F grade. However, my male peers who also received a C or a lower grade on that midterm continued with the course, and in the end, the professor ended up curving our grades, so everyone ended up passing the course. I didn't understand what was happening. As a person who is so used to getting good grades and passing all the courses that I select, I did not adjust well to this setback. I took this course again the next semester, and I wanted to change my approach. The first thing I wanted to do was I'm definitely not going to drop off this course irrespective of what happens during the midterm. And second, I started seeking out guidance from my professor and from the other colleagues of the course and from my TA. I visited my professor during the office hours, and I was really able to understand the concepts and perform well in the course. And it was during that year that I realized that it isn't my grade that will let me choose my major. It is my drive and my confidence in my skills that will help me decide my major and help me build a career in it. So my advice to all the high school students who are in the process of selecting a major right now, do not let your grades or your GPA or the fact that you're a minority or your past performance in the courses or your opinions or thoughts of others let you precede you from your major. It should be your interest, your passion, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your belief in your skills that should let you decide a major. If you don't get a good grade in science course, doesn't mean that you cannot do chemistry. You can still do it. So just believe in yourself and decide a major that's going to make you happy. A few of my female colleagues and I have put together a list of lessons learned from our STEM journeys and the advice we wish we heard when we were your age. So sit back up and keep reading. Seek out, persevere, and innovate. When in doubt, Google. I think this is one of the best advices that I've ever gotten, is just Google everything. I used to be so afraid of asking questions. Every time I had an issue in the course, I would just sit back and try to figure it out in the books, but Googling is also a great way of moving on. And never be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. I think it's important that we do not let our challenges dissuade us. And it's important that we keep on trying to learn something new every day and challenge ourselves and get out of our comfort zones. And the biggest advice that I've had to use for myself is speak up for yourself. If you need a raise, if you need a grade that you think was not right on your midterm, go talk to your professor, go talk to your manager about your negotiation on your salary. Just speak up for yourself and learn to do it right. You're going to find hardships at every turn, but you have to remember, as Dory said, just keep swimming. Find the problems, recognize them, and find solutions to fix them. I think it's important with the way that we are living right now to find problems on a daily basis and recognize how you can make this world a better place for everyone. And the last advice I have is to learn to question everything. Don't just accept the answer, but understand it. If you don't like the answer, change it. Okay, so my biggest advice, as per my colleagues and I, is to be at peace. There's a lot of noise and there's a lot of disturbances in the world. It's important to find your peace and listen to your inner voice. Second, learning. Learning is just not limited to your academic life. It's a continuous process that you have to choose to perform throughout your career. And third, you have to be strong. If you do a task and if you fail, that's okay. That's part of the process. You need to be strong enough to keep going every single day. And know that you know yourself better than everyone else. So just hang in there and keep moving. You know what's best for you, so do that. Okay. Another colleague says, be resilient, dream more, and be creative with your solutions. It's important that you change your mindset from saying something like, I want to do this one day in life, to saying, I will be when I become a software engineer, instead of saying, I want to be a software engineer. So it's just a mindset change that will help you achieve more and build a very successful career. There are several things that test your patience. Don't fall them. Be patient, especially when things are not going your way. Remember that you are human and mistakes are possible. Forgive yourself and keep going. You are the future. Invest in yourself, invest in your skills, and see how you flourish. It's important that you try all the different aspects of life and you try to learn in all the different aspects. Another colleague of mine says, wear your confidence like you would wear an accessory. And I take this advice to my heart. When you are rising and climbing the career ladder, remember to take others with you. Remember that. empowered women empower women. And most importantly, retrospect. Know where you went wrong and always try to be your best version. And my favorite is be brave, be bold, be fearless. You are your biggest advocate. And remember that you have to aim to keep growing every single day. So just aim for that. So one of my teachers in grade 7 looked at my first draft of the web page that I made in HTML, and she probably saw the hesitation that I had in my design because I was just following the template. I wanted to do more. I knew that I could create more and build a better application, but because I had a template, I was just following that, and my teacher noticed it. So she advised me to think outside the box, and she told me that template is not my only limitation and that I could go out and try different ideas. And that advice from my teacher has actually led me to become who I am today. And I credit everything I have done to that advice, because it's that advice that helped me create a philosophy that imagination is my only limitation. In everything that I do, I try to exceed my own imagination. If I'm trying to create a product, I try to see how I can make it better. How can I make the user experience or the customer experience better? Everything is just limited to your imagination. So if you have a new product idea, new app idea, go for it. It's all in your hands. So I encourage you all to go out today and learn something new, start a new project, meet new like-minded individuals, meet new STEMness in your field, and share your ideas, your opinions, and write your own STEM journeys. And it's important that you try to create a path for yourself and a career for yourself that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled. So go out today and write your own STEM journey. Okay, and with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming in today and for joining me on my STEM journey. So feel free to follow me on LinkedIn or on Instagram and follow the podcast that I've created for the other STEMness. But I thank you all so much for coming in, and I wish you all the best. Do you all have any questions?
Do you have a question, Thomas?
Yes, yeah, it's very nice talk, very motivational. Thank you very much for coming and accepting our invitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So feel free to enter your questions in the chat, and we actually do have one. So I noticed you had a lot of advice to everyone on the call, but they're asking, do you have any advice for those joining the STEM industry that do not have a coding background?
Yeah, so depending on what industry did you have, a lot of these advices that I have are applicable. It's important that you continue to fight for yourself in every industry that you go. It's important that you raise your voice and you make sure that your opinions and your ideas are heard in every industry that you go. But is there a specific industry that you're talking about? Whoever had the question.
Do you want to go ahead and unmute if you have anything to add on? Well, the advice, as you said, it's universal for regardless if you're in STEM, if you're not in STEM, you know, women in business and women in science, we need more of them.
Yes, definitely.
Does anyone else have any questions? They're asking for how to contact you. Besides LinkedIn, do you want to share your email address?
Yeah, I can share it with you, or do you want me to just type it in the chat?
You can type it in the chat and then everyone can copy it there.
Yeah. Right here. Yeah, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or any other platform.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any other questions? What kind of coding have you learned?
So I have learned a lot of different coding languages, and one of them is Python, C#, C++, Java, Fortran. There's just so many that have been going on.
I see a lot of thank yous coming in. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And this was recorded. So we will go ahead and share this with everyone on the call. Thank you. Have a great day.
So much.